Hello and welcome to the first Shelly Silly Stuff video. So today, I just realized she is like way out of screen, out of there. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we are going to recreate Meryl. We're going to make her a sibling, okay? So the stitches we're going to use is a single crochet, a loop stitch, which is basically a single crochet, we're just adding a loop to it, increases and decreases. So I will show you all the stitches. I mean, they're fairly basic, so if you were like brand new to crocheting, you may be like, what in the world is that? But I will show you, okay? And the tools we're going to need is a crochet hook. So it calls for a 3.5 millimeter or a 4 millimeter, so an E or a G. I'm using a 3.5. You're going to need some polyfill. Probably going to need more than this, but at least I had a little up here to show you. Scissors, your stitch markers. If you choose to have safety eyes, I just picked these up today. Or if you wanted to, like I did, I just used a crochet thread, or you can use regular black thread if you like triple or quadruple it onto the needle to make her little eyes in her face, her mouth. So now you will still need the thread for the mouth, so you'll also need a yarn needle, okay? So I got this one. Ooh, I didn't tie the end to it. So I got this one all loaded up and ready to go. And then you're going to need, obviously, yarn. So the two colors I picked is amethyst and then off-white. So here's the amethyst. Here's the off-white. They are both loops and threads, soft classic. They are a medium weight, a number 4, and I know they call for a 5.5 millimeter hook, but we're going to go with this 3 because we want to make sure everything stays put where we put it and nothing comes seeping out. Now, if you do not have polyfill or can afford it, like when I first made Meryl, you can actually use extra yarn. So if you have some scrap yarn from a previous project or anything like that, you can use that to stuff her. As you can see right here, there's a little bit of like a baby blue poking out because I had some extra baby blue that wasn't enough for another project. So I used that to stuff her. But since she just sits on my desk and keeps me company, you know, for all my filming and everything, I'm just like, it's okay. That's fine. Now, if I was going to sell her or gift her to somebody, then obviously I would have gone in and fixed that. But I think she's just adorable the way she is, just like all of us. We are perfect the way we are. So let's go ahead and set her over here. And, okay, let's see, anything else I'm missing? So we got the scissors. That's covered in alcohol ink. Fun times. Oh, I did find when I was at Michael's today, this cute Cuddlecraft fur. I thought this would be so adorable to do on a version of, or on one of Meryl's siblings. Okay? Because you could just go ahead and use a regular single crochet throughout the whole project. You know, you don't have to do the loop stitch. And it would still give that woolly effect. Okay? So I saw that and I was like, ooh! So I'm probably going to be testing that out later. So, let's go ahead and make some room here. Okay, keep my stitch counters there. We're going to move the eyeballs. Okay, so I'm going to use the purple for, or the amethyst for the body and the tail. Okay, so wherever there's these loop stitches, that's going to be this amethyst color. Her little face, ears, feet are all going to be the off-white. Okay. Now you can, if you want, just go ahead and just use the off-white for the entire thing like I did with Meryl. You know, that is totally up to you, but the process we're going to do today involves 2 colors. So I will let you know when it comes to switching colors that if you're doing a single color, you can skip it, okay? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with a magic ring. Magic ring, some people, they get it so easily, and I'm jealous of those people because I struggle. And not only that, because I have little fingers, little short fingers, I also struggle with holding my hook. So you might see me have some holding, the way I hold the hook, words, may not look like, hey, may look like, hey, she's holding it weird. It's because I try to adapt, okay? And just like if you had short arms, you get one of those grabby sticks. If you got short legs, you get a step stool, which I have all those. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pinch. We're going to leave a good amount of slack, pinch, wrap once, wrap twice, pinch back together. Okay. So now we want to make sure our hook, okay, we want to pay attention to where the working yarn, so this long bit, not this little baby yarn, not this little baby tail, the working yarn, we're going to follow that up and see where it goes. So since it should be on the outer edge here, okay, so these ones that are closest to the finger, we're going to take our hook, we're going to go under it, and we're going to grab the working yarn, come back, lift up, and over. Okay? And then, now see, this is where I hold it weird. Okay? I'm pinching it between my 2 fingers there. So I could take the working yarn, come back, loop around, I'll pinch it back in my fingers there, and I will pull through. Ba-ding! So that's our start. Okay? Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to go under. Let's see, make sure grabbing the working yarn here. Yep. We're going to yarn over. What in tarnation is going on here? Okay. Yeah, we're supposed to go under, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, and pull through. Yeah, you probably noticed there my brain had to function for a second. Pull through, pull through. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that's what happens when I'm trying to adapt. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, make sure the little tail is pulled out because it will end up getting all looped around the main ring, because we want to make sure nothing interferes with this tail. So, because when we go to tighten it up, that's what we tighten it up with. So it's okay to give it a little tug and see if the ring shrinks, which mine did. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make 6 single crochets. So we go under, yarn over, and pull it up. So now you got 2 loops on there. Yarn over and pull through. Okay. So now see, I never count this first one. I never do. So that's our first one. Okay. Now we're going to do it again. It's number 2. Okay, and as you're working, you'll notice that the little tail will keep getting looped around. So just keep pulling it back out. So we're at 2. We're going to go under, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And that's number 3. And here's number 4. Number, My tail is getting twisted. There it goes. Yarn over, pull through. Okay, so that makes, whoop, boop, 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 boop. And if you ever lose track, you can always count the little V's that are at the top of your stitches here, because each little V is a completed stitch. Now remember, I don't count this one there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got one more. Okay, so go under, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull it through. Okay, so we have our 6 single crochets there. Now go ahead and we pull on the tail, and we want to make sure our stitches are staying as straight as possible, but yet we still want them to curl or go in the loop, okay? So pull it as tight as we can get. There, okay. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and remember that initial stitch right here? Okay, not all. The first single crochet. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, the first real single crochet. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put our hook. We want to put through both of the loops. Hello, there it goes. On that very first stitch we did, okay, on the first real single crochet. And you're going to yarn over, pull through those two, and then you're also going to pull it through that little loop there. So that is a slip stitch. I should include that on the list. Oh well. All right, now we're going to do a single chain. Now, the next row is going to be all increases. So it's going to be a total of 12 single crochets, but you're going to put 2 single crochets into one of the original stitches, okay? So we're going to start with this one here. Get it in there. Okay, so yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And again, remember, when you first put your hook in, I keep wanting to call them needles. When you first put your hook in, you want to get through both pieces of yarn for the top of the V, okay? Now we got the first one done, so don't forget, use your stitch markers. So the stitch that was the chain, the single chain, that's what I put them into. So that way I know, okay, that is my little ending point there, okay? So now we're going to put our hook back into the same stitch that we used before, okay? And we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So that's 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. That is an increase, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and look for the next stitch, which is right there. Now, I do admit that working with white yarn can, or any light colored yarn can be a little troubling on the eyes, as well as working with black yarn. That's why they always say, if you're making something for someone with black yarn, that means you love them, because it is hard to see where you have to put in your hooks and everything, unless you got some really bright lights around you. Okay, so we got our hook in there. Going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through both of those. Okay, now I'm going to repeat it again into that same stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so that's our second increase, okay? So when you're done going through all these, you should have a total of 12 of these little V's on top of completed stitches, okay? So go ahead and keep on going. So okay, it's number 3. Okay, next one. Okay, that's number 4. Okay, another thing to keep your peepers peeled for, sometimes the V's will go to an angle. So you gotta kind of straighten them out some, okay? One, two. Okay, so in my mind, I think I have 10 stitches completed, so let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, okay. So I'm on my last increase. Okay, so put the hook through, yarn over, pull, yarn over, pull. One last time. Yarn over, pull, yarn over, pull. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take our stitch marker out. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to hook into the very first stitch. We do another slip stitch, so yarn over, pull through the actual stitch, and then pull through the little loop. So our second round is complete now. Do another chain. Okay, so now this time we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase. So we'll have a total of 18 stitches going around this time. So this one, we're going to go into the first row stitch. Again, go through both of the pieces of yarn. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So that's your single crochet. Now always remember, put your stitch marker into your single chain. Okay, so there we go. All right, so we got our first single crochet. So now we're going to go into the next stitch, and this one's going to be an increase. So it's going to have 2 single crochets in it. So it's 1 and 2. And we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around. So it's going to be done 5 more times, and we'll have a total of 18 stitches on there, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, take our stitch marker out. This time we're, see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4. We're going to do 4 rows of just single crochets all the way around. So you're going to do 18 single crochets, slip stitch, chain stitch, and then start the next one, okay? So I'll do a round with you. So first we got to go ahead and do our slip stitch. Okay, slip stitch, and then a single crochet, and then put our little stitch marker in there. Come on. Okay. So now a little trick that I learned was, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Lost amongst all the yarn. So I take a little Post-it pad, and I will write first the number of rows I'm supposed to do. So we're going to do 4 rows of this. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and put 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that I got them all. Okay. So I'm going to do the first row with you. And then you'll do the other 3 on your own. Now, just so you know, I have a habit of, if I have to pull my hook out for any reason, I always make a big loop, because when I'm on my own crocheting, I usually crochet in the living room, and if I set it down to like go get myself something to drink, go to the bathroom, anything like that, my dogs love to run on the couch, and they will go ahead and pull on the yarn, and then I'll lose stitches or lose where I'm at. So if you see me doing that, it's force of habit. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and see, find that first stitch right here. Go in and just simple single crochets all the way around. And you should have 18 of them when you're done. Okay, so basically we finish building out the front of the sheep's little nose, face, whatever. We're working on the length of it. So we already got the around done, so now we're working on the depth, I guess you could say. Okay. And now I will tell you this, sometimes some yarns, they will like untwist, I guess you could say, if you can see how it's like, it widens up and you can see the individual threads that are twisted on there. Okay, so sometimes, you know, if you're like, hey, why isn't it going through all the way? Don't just yank it and rip it. You know, kind of back it out some, check it out, and you'll notice, oh, hey, look, there's an extra thread there. And then you'll go ahead and move your hook accordingly, and then you can continue on, okay? Now, I never claimed to be a pro at crocheting. I mean, I love doing it. You know, I have learned a lot, you know, especially from YouTube videos. So, I tend to, you know, if it's like if I go and let's say I find a pattern online and I'm like, what in the world do these abbreviations mean? I will type it in on YouTube, and guaranteed at least 5 people will have videos on how to do the stitch. And I will sit there and I will practice working on the stitch till I feel like I got it down packed, and then I'll go work on my project. So that's one thing I like doing with my scrap yarn. If it's long enough to do like at least 2 rows of like 10 stitches a row, I'll go ahead and do that to get my practice in. And there is nothing wrong. I don't care how old you are. You're never too old to learn something new, even if it's just a new stitch or, you know, a new, you know, whatever your hobby is. You know, there might be some little thing that can, you know, make it better, and it doesn't hurt to learn it. You know, because like I said, I also do resin. You know, I also do work with the laser machines. I have 2 of them here, actually. I have a Glowforge Aura and with the filter, And I also have an X Tool D1 Pro 20 watt. So they're not like insane, you know, kind of lasers. Like the place I used to work at, they had a 6,000 watt laser machine. I mean, and this thing, it cut through steel that was like a ½ inch thick, right? I can cut through maybe a 1/4 inch wood on the X Tool, and when it comes to the Glowforge Aura, forget it. That thing, I mean, some acrylics it'll cut through, others it won't. You know, some woods it cuts through, others it won't. So it's like hit or miss when it's trying to get materials for it. And not only that, the Glowforge, they try to, you know, push you for the oh, I forgot what they call it now. But it's like their own line of materials that has a little QR code on it. So that way, when you put it in the machine, the camera that's in there picks it, you know, scans the QR code, and it's like, okay, these are the settings we need for this. I don't like that. I want to be able to, you know, if I see a piece of, I mean, obviously, I don't want to work with material that'll kill me. Like, what was it? Do I even still have it in here? I don't think I have it in here. I bought this white, I want to say it's like a plastic or something. I don't even know what it was made of. But I remember when I looked it up to see what settings I would need for the X Tool. No, whatever this material was, it puts out some really bad fumes. Alright, so before I start jabbering on, so I finished the first row of 18. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my one. Okay, and we're gonna go on to the second row. So, and if you don't want to hear me jabbering, I will put a little timestamp deal down here so you can know where to skip to. Okay, but you know, I love my X Tool. I was loving the Glowforge at first, and now the Glowforge, it just sits. Now, technically, the X Tool is just sitting as well, but that's because I need to get some new lines, power lines, ran in the house here, because I want to have it on its own dedicated breaker, so that way it doesn't blow the power in the rest of the house and things like that. And also, I don't want to cause any, you know, wire fires or anything like that in the walls. So that is the next big project for my home, is to get more power. Sound like tool time. More power. And just a heads up, I do weird sounds. I'll sing to myself. I will just randomly start quoting movies. I'm a fun time. I tell you what, you know, I am a fun person to hang out with. I think I am. I think I'm a delight. I'm a hoot. So, I know others will beg to differ, but hey, that's them. They don't see the beauty in my insanity. All right, let's see here. Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about getting a loose thread there. There we go. Got it through. Sometimes if you just work slow, you won't run into problems. Because I've seen some people that are just like, done. And I'm just like, how did you do that? Because I like, you know, like tortoise in the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay. Now, I am going to admit something to you. I had a completely different video filmed for our first video. I went to export it out of the video editor software that I was using. It only recorded my intro and my outro. Or actually, that's all it saved was my intro and my outro. Everything in the middle, gone. So, needless to say, I was not a happy camper this morning. So I had to go run the errands I had to run, do what I had to do. And then while I was out doing that, I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was like, well, you know what? Push comes to shove, rearrange the order of the videos I want to post. We're going this route first. Because it was a resin project. And it took multiple days to film, multiple days to edit, and I had to keep cutting it down, get my sounds saved and stuff, and downloaded and saved, and all that fun stuff, just for it to go, goodbye. Okay, oops, that was number 2. So we're on row number 3 now. We're trucking along, moving right along, but loose and fancy free, moving right along. I think that's the words. I don't know. Hopefully I won't get demonetized because I don't even know if I'm going to be monetized. Depends on how many people watch this. But I hope not. I hope I don't get in trouble. Let's see, what can I tell you about me? I was originally born and raised in Los Angeles County, California. Let's see here. I am the youngest of 3 children. The oldest is my brother, who lives in Vegas here with me. Or, he doesn't live with me, but he lives out here in Vegas. And my sister, she's the middle child. Trust me, she doesn't have middle child syndrome. I think it got flipped around. So, but anyway, I love my sister. She was living out here in Vegas, and then I believe it was about 2 years ago, she bought her first house out in Texas, outside of Houston area. I'm very proud of her. Her and her family been doing quite well for themselves. Wish she would come to Vegas and visit more often. Oh no, she watched the video because she'll say something about that. Let's see. I went to high school in Pomona, California at Pomona Catholic, so I'm a Pomona Pacer. Let's see here. I have my associate's degree in accounting from Southern New Hampshire University. I lived in Tennessee for a few years. I started off in Action City, Tennessee, a little itty-bitty town. When I moved there, or when I had first moved there, they only had 1 traffic light that I recall in the whole town. And the buzz around town was that they were getting a super Walmart. That was their thing. And amazingly enough, people actually went to the Super Walmart just to hang out. And I'm like, well, what is going on? But then again, it was a culture shock. When I first moved out there, my friend took me, went ahead and drove me into downtown Nashville. And we were stopped at a red light. And there was this older gentleman at the corner there. And he waved to me. I freaked out and rolled up my window so fast. And my friend was like, what's wrong? And I was like, that man waved at me. He's going to rob me. And he just started laughing. He's like, no, he was just saying hi. He's not going to rob you. And I was like, well, I don't know. Well, I've had people wave at me back home and they try to carjack me and stuff. And he's like, it's not like that out here. Okay, so that's row number 3. All right, we're on our last one. And you kind of start seeing the form it's taken here. Now, let's see here. There you go. Yeah. All right, so we got our loop, let's go ahead and get our hook into this first stitch here. There it is. Wait. This one. I think. No, it's this one. See what I mean? Okay. Let's see here. I moved to Vegas, October of 2010. When I moved here, I moved here from Texas, but not where my sister was. I was in Killeen, Texas. I was living with someone there, and it just wasn't working out. And then plus I had the genius idea to move there at the beginning of summertime. So my first experience of Killeen, Texas was during the summer. And the air conditioning didn't work right in the apartment I was in. It had one window unit, and it only had one teeny tiny little stream of air coming out of it. So my roommate and I, we would fight over who would get to sit in front of the tiny stream of air to cool down. And I didn't have a vehicle out there, but I wasn't that far from a little strip mall. So I was like, oh, I can walk there. It's no problem. I kid you not. As soon as I opened the door to go outside, it was instant. Sweat stains in the armpits. My makeup was melting off my face. I was sweaty. And it's like, by the time I got up to the corner there where the strip mall was, I looked awful. And I'm going into these places going, I need a job. And they're probably like, girl, bye. We ain't giving you no job. What you doing? You look awful. So, yeah. So it's like I said, I'm having a hard time finding a job. Couldn't get anywhere, do anything. And so originally I had spoke with my mom and was trying to see if she would let me move back to California, you know, and crash with her for a bit until I can get my own place and stuff. But she had other plans. She's like, I'll call you back. And the next thing I know, I have my brother calling me saying, hey, I'm going to get you a Greyhound ticket. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to Vegas. And away I went on the Greyhound. So, and that's what brought me here. And see here, I do live with my fiance. We have been together for just over 4 years. We have 2 dogs. Let's see if I can insert a picture of them on here somewhere. But we have little Philip, who's mine. He's a little, well, he used to be all black. Now he's got a lot of gray on him. He's a little Chihuahua. I adopted him 10 years ago from the Animal Foundation. He was 8 years old when I adopted him. And I adopted him on St. Patrick's Day. They did not know when his actual birthday was, but he was owner surrender. So I consider St. Patrick's Day his birthday. So he just turned 18 years old. And then we also have Lugnut. That is a Chihuahua mix. You know, sometimes I see Beagle in them. Sometimes I see other breeds in them. But he's a good boy. Wait, is this the right one? Yeah. Right? No, not that one. This one. Oi, 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 oi. He can be a ornery one sometimes, but overall he's a good boy. He has good intentions. He is my fiance's dog. He doesn't remember how long ago it was that he got him, but he was on his way to a NASCAR event at the Speedway out in like North Vegas. And he found a dog tied up to a dumpster. Just left there to die. So he went ahead, he got him. He said to heck with the race. He took the dog, went to the vet, no chip in them, no nothing. So he just kept the dog, and we love him to death, even though he's an unreal thing. But yeah, his name is Lugnut, because he was the first of many. He it's funny, he showed me videos and pictures and stuff that, let's see, I believe Lugnut was the first one that they adopted. No, this is when he was with his ex-wife and all that. We don't talk about her. Anyway, they ended up adopting 3 more dogs. All 4 of them looked identical, almost identical. So there's Lugnut, Pit Stop, Checkers, and NASCAR. Because his ex-wife was addicted to NASCAR. So, and when they split up, she took 3 of the 4 dogs and left Lugnut behind. So now Lugnut's my little buddy. We roughhouse. We do what I call fisticuffs. I'll sit there and be like, and he'll like play bite on my hands and stuff. It's real sweet. Okay, so continuing on, we have our 4 rows. Okay, and again, finish it off with a slip stitch and then a single chain. Put our little stitch marker on there. And now, so this next row, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So this would be where we're going to have 24 stitches when it's done, okay? So it's going to be 2 singles, so we've got to make sure we find the right one. So it'll be this one here. So there's 1, and then go to the next stitch, and that's our next single crochet. And now we do find our next stitch, and this is going to be an increase. So it's going to be 2 single crochets and 1. 1, 2. Okay, and then next one is going to be just 1 single. Okay, next stitch, another single. Okay, and then the next one is 2 singles into the 1. It's our increase. Okay, and then a single, and then a single, and now an increase. And trust me, it is so hard for me to go from single, single, double, because there is a double crochet stitch. Let me see here. Uh-oh, I lost count. Okay, so single. This is another way I do it too. I'll go single, single, and then 1, 2 is my increase. Single, single, 1, 2, increase. Okay, so let's see here. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2. Okay, so this is our increase that I'm working on right now. Okay, next stitch. Single, next stitch, single, next stitch, increase, okay, next stitch, single, next stitch, single, and I feel a knot coming up in my hand. Okay. Okay, so single, single. Now we've got our increase. Okay, and next stitch, single. Next stitch, single. And next stitch, increase. Okay, so something isn't looking right. I have an extra stitch in here that shouldn't be there. So let's count. So we should have a total of 24 stitches. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I have all the stitches. Why is there an extra? Okay. We're going to move on. I'm going to keep on. Oh! That was my single chain. So we're going to skip that one, do our slip stitch. Okay. Now, we're going to put, if you're using safety eyes, we're going to put them in between row 5 and row 6. This is also when I stitch on the face, so I've got my little extra. I did the slip stitch, I didn't do the single chain. That's okay. So I'm going to go ahead just to make sure everything stays kosher. I'll take a stitch marker, put it through one of the pieces of yarn for one of the lower stitches. I'll put it through my working hoop. Just so that way, if for some reason this gets all super tight, I can still get to it. You know, it won't mess up my stitches. There it is. Wait, where? Hello. I'm like, there it is. And then it's like, it's not going to come out. There it goes. Do, 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 do. There we go. Okay. So now I like to go make sure I find a nice clean edge. So this side here where we've been doing the, moving up and stuff like that, I tend to leave that towards the bottom. Now another thing too, this extra piece of yarn, what I do is I take our little hook, since it's thin enough, I'll go ahead and put it in through the center. So you can see right there where it's like pretty dark. That's where our magic ring was. Put the hook through there. Let it catch onto some of the yarn of the tail, and then I pull it back through. Boop. There you go. And it's gone. So what I'm going to do first, okay, now this is going to be joyous, because this is my first time working with eyeballs. I have a feeling I bought what I thought was the smallest size I carried. These look like they're kind of monstrous. So I guess Meryl's sibling here is going to have some buggy eyes. Okay, so we're going to put them in between rows 5 and 6. So let's see here. So this was row 8. Let me see here. Where is my... Okay, this will work. Let's see here. Because there's magic ring. So basically, you're going to use the little holes between the stitches to figure out where to, to count your rows and where to stick them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's going to be right about here. Yeah, see, these are so monstrous. There. And then I got to put the little plastic backing. Probably be easier if I turned her inside her, them. And then, let's see, it doesn't even give you instructions on how to do it. Because is it supposed to go like this, or does it go like that? Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. Because I have a feeling this will probably hold it on better. There. Eyeball number 1 secured. See? Look at that. Looks more like a nose. Sorry, little buddy. You're going to be bug-eyed. You'll match my dog. Okay. And then put this one in right there. Is that the same? Yeah, it's the same row. Get another little plastic dealie. Punch it on. So we're going to have a bug-eyed sheep today. Which is fitting because little Philip, my dog, he's a bug-eyed buddy because he has some big buggy eyes. Okay, so we got those on there. Now we're going to also go ahead and stitch their little mouth on them. So that's when the crochet thread or regular black thread that you have comes into play. So even though I knotted the end of this, let me turn this inside out again, I'm still going to tie it to this extra piece of yarn, this tail that we fed through. Okay, because it is going to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. So. Do, 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 boop, 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 boop. Do, 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 do. Make sure it's nice snug. Okay. Turn it right side. Turn them right side out. All right. So what I like to do, kind of figure out where center of the eyes is. We're going to go down. I like to do it, see, about 2 stitches up from the magic ring. Okay, that's going to be the center of the nose, but obviously sheep don't have that stuff. So we're going to go to the 1 stitch off to the side right here. Okay, see right there? That's where we're going to put our needle through from the inside, like that. So you can feed it through. And you're going to poke it back into the center of the magic ring. As because the eyes are so big, I need to make his little mouth, their little mouth bigger, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and figure out basically the same area over here. So it looks like it'd probably be right about here that we're going to poke into. And I will be honest, going like this does help you figure out where you have to poke through. Because see, even though I poke in wrong places, I know that's where I need to focus my eyeballs. From this side. Look for the pink on this side. Okay? God, almost looks like snake eyes. It's creeping me out, man. I got so used to cute, adorable little just stitches. Now I got these buggy eyes. Okay, then go back into the center of the magic circle. Boop, boop, and then pull that through. Okay, so that's the nose. And then we're going to go ahead and count 2. I'll do 3. So let's see here. 1, 2, no, 2. 2 should be fine. And try to go straight. You're probably going to end up going through a stitch. It won't be one of those little nice pre-made holes like we have up here. And then just whittle it open. Okay, now go ahead and poke our yarn needle through there. There it goes. Make sure it's not catching on anything. Good googly woo. Okay. Oop, I'm so sorry. I went to wipe my nose and accidentally beat you. Okay. So now you can see on the inside here, it is becoming a bit of a hot mess in there. So you always want to keep and see, here's what I was worried about. My working loop got stuck in the thread. So I'm going to have to poke back out of here. Come on. Nope. Okay, I think that's it. Hopefully I didn't catch any spare little threads. There we go. Huzzah! I believe it was right there that I stuck it in. Let me see. Close enough. Okay. And pull that through. Make sure my working yarn is well out of there. And then we're going to poke it back through the center. And ta-da! So it's got a little face. Look at how cute. Oh my goodness. With the buggy eyes. I think it might be related to my dog. Okay, so we're going to flip it back to inside out. And basically what we did with the tail of the thread, we're going to do it again. So we're just going to go ahead and tie a knot with that extra yarn to the thread. And actually, let me go ahead and cut nice little bit of thread. Move that off to the side there. So that way it's easier for me to tie an actual knot. Actually, I'm going to do it one more time for good measure. Okay. That looks demonic. But you flip it right side out, and look at that, cute as a button. So cute. Okay. So, now is when we're going, let's see, we're going to switch yarns. I need to step away for just a second. I will be right back. All right. So now is the time where we are going to change our yarn color. Okay. So this one, I did the slip stitch. I didn't do the single chain yet. Okay, so I'm going to actually leave that connected for right now. I'm going to go ahead. Now, if you want to continue using the same color, you can. You just don't have to worry about changing out the color here. But if you're going to change out color, go ahead and cut your white yarn. I am going to use this pretty amethyst color for the wool. So it's probably going to be more like a Minecraft sheep than than when you would actually see out on the farms. Okay, we're going to need a lot of this one. Let me move this white one over for a moment. So it's getting a good bit started here. All right, where's my end? There it is. Okay. So what we're going to do, okay, take our little stitch marker out, make sure I'm in view. Okay, what I like to do is I go ahead, put my hook in, tighten it up, as tight as it'll go. Well, not as tight as it'll go, you know, because you still want to be able to move your hook around in there. But basically to the right size loop, and then you're going to tie the two yarns together. I try to make it so that way the new color doesn't have too long of a tail. And you just tie it in a knot, and you're going to tie it as close as possible to your work. If my fingers will work with me. Come on. Okay. I swear, as I get older, I start seeing more traits in me that remind me of my mother. Like the original video. What in the world did I just do? Oh, okay. So the original video I tried to make when I was doing the editing and stuff, I noticed that my arms, like, they remind me of my mom's. My hand, you know, stuff I have going on with my fingers remind me of mom. And I'm just like, oh gosh, I am my mother. You know, I try to see, you know, parts of me that remind me of my dad, but there we go. Now we have a nice knot. But the only thing I think I have in my dad's is the thinning hair. That's all. Gotta love them family genes. Okay, so now we do that. So we're gonna put the knot and try to push the knot towards the inside of your work. So what I do is I'll take the two tails, tuck them in, and I'll hold it down with my thumb until I feel like it's not going anywhere. So now we're gonna do our single chain. Okay, and now we're gonna do 3 loop stitches and then an increase. Okay, we're gonna do that 6 times, so there'll be a total of 30 stitches now. So we're gonna find our stitch. I'm gonna put the hook in there. So it's gonna start off like a single crochet. So we're gonna yarn over and pull through. So you have 2 loops on there. Now while you have those 2 loops on your hook, you're gonna take your working yarn, make like a little loop, and fold it over. So that way the working yarn goes underneath the yarn that's coming out of your work right now. Like that. Pin it, with your finger. Then you're going to yarn over onto your hook, and you're going to pull through. Okay, and that is a loop stitch. So that is what is all over Meryl and her little tail. Okay, and let's see here. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Now you want to be careful, don't pull on your yarn because it will take the loop out of the previous stitch. Okay, and then again, we're going to take the working yarn. We're going to loop it so that way working yarn goes underneath the yarn close to project. Pin with your finger, yarn over, pull through. There's number 2. And then our 3rd stitch here, yarn over, pull through, make the loop. Now, the loops do not have to be exactly the same size. You want them close, but they don't have to be exact. Okay? Because it also gives more dimension. Because Meryl, she has some that are longer. Look, like these ones practically disappeared. Oh, hello, hair. Look at that. See? There's a little bit of me in every project. Because I shed. Hence the thinning hair. Why won't you come out? You know, I got a way to fix you. No, I can still see you. Okay, down there. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, see, some are kind of short, some are longer, but it also, you know, adds to the texture, I think. You know, because what sheep do you know, unless they've just been shaved, you know, is it a nice, even coat of wool? No, they're all so that's why it's okay. So, you know, you want them close, but not, they don't have to be identical. Okay? Alright, so we got our 3 loop stitches. So now we're going to do an increase. So it's going to be 2 single crochets in the 1 stitch, just like before. Go under both pieces of yarn. For the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. There's 1. And there's 2. Okay. Make sure our 3 loops are still intact. Okay. So we're going to move on. Next stitch, so we're going to do 3 more loops. There's 1. There's 2. And here's number 3. And then an increase. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. Increase. Now I do admit with these loop stitches, it is easier to count and see where you are in your stitches. So, because you can go, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got it. Count the loops. Okay. So we got our increase. Now we're going to do another 3 loops. This is 1. Two. Oh, excuse me. And 3. I almost forgot the loop. Oh no, don't forget the loop. Okay, and then an increase. 1 and 2. And back to 3 loops. There's 1, 2, oh, 2. Okay, there's a second loop. And then our third loop. Okay, and increase. Okay, and 3 more loops. Two. 3. 3. Oh, what did... I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm doing the loop before I did the first yarn pull through. Okay, 3. Now it's an increase. Okay, 3 loops. 1. Okay, I see that little piece of thread right there. Let's see, here we go. And so that's what I say, be mindful of the extra threads. There we go. Ta-da. Okay. One. 2. 3. And then our increase. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and see here. Okay, this one here. Go ahead and do our loop, or excuse me, our slip stitch. And then we're going to do our single chain and then put in our stitch marker. And I just realized my stitch marker is basically the same color, so hopefully my eyeballs will be able to tell the difference between yarn and plastic. Okay. Oh wait, I put it in the wrong loop. Oh my goodness. Okay. So it needs to go into the single chain. And I almost hit my head on my ring light. Fun times, fun times. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead. We're going to do 9 rows that are basically a loop stitch in every single stitch. So you're basically going to be building out the body, okay? Or going to be working on building out the body. Okay, so you should have a total of 30 stitches after you complete a row, and each one's going to be a loop stitch, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and I will meet back with you once we've completed those 9 rows. Okay, so we just finished the 9 rows to make the body. I think they're coming along quite well. Look at that adorable little punim. I'm starting to get used to the buggy eyes, so I don't think it's that bad. And compare blah 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 words. Compare him to Meryl. I think he's quite cute. He, she, it, they. Whatever our little sheepy is going to be, they're adorable. They're cute. Okay, so now obviously you do slip stitch and the chain before we go to the next round. You should have been doing that for every single row we've done. Okay, and you see here some of it kind of got mushed down. So now when it comes to stuffing, we don't want to stuff it to where it's solid. You want to have some play in there too, okay? Now, I'm going to start stuffing the head. I'm not going to worry about stuffing the rest of the body until we start to close it up. After we get a few stitches in closing, because we're going to start decreasing now. So I'm just going to rip off little bits at a time and just start shoving it in there. Okay, so that's good. Actually, I could put a little more in its head, because the stitches are nice and tight in there. Only reason I don't want to stuff the body too much is because it will stretch out, and when it stretches out, we lose the loops. I learned that the hard way. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. I still got my stitch marker in my little chain. Sorry, I ate a tart. And some of the pastry got stuck in my teeth. Okay, so now we're going to do, okay, remember how up here we did 3 loops and then an increase? This time we're going to do 3 loops and a decrease. So let's go ahead and do our 3 loops. One. Sometimes it helps to hold down the previous loop as well and make sure nothing goes anywhere. Okay. Oh, and I'm snagging onto things. There we go. There we go. All right. And there's 2. And here's number 3. Okay, now we're going to do a decrease. So for a decrease, we're going to go ahead, put our hook underneath both stitches in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then we're going to take our hook and put it into the stitch after that one, yarn over, pull through, so you have 3 loops, and then you're going to yarn over once more, and you're going to pull through all 3. Now make sure you hold on to that last loop you made there, so you don't accidentally get rid of it. There. And then give it a little bit of a tug. Just make sure you don't lose your loop. Okay. Now we're going to do three more loops. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there goes 3. Okay. Now our decrease. So remember, go under, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, go yarn over, pull through, hold on to that last loop, don't lose it, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Give it a little tug while holding on to that loop, and then we can grab more yarn. Okay. And continue on. Okay, so 3 loops. 1, 2, 3, and now our decrease. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through all 3. Tug, tug, tug. Okay. Okay, loop 1. Whoa. My hook decided to boogie on out. Okay. So it's 1, 2, loop, Shelly, loop. Okay. There's 3. Okay, now our decrease. 1, 2, and pull through all 3 loops. Tug, tug. Okay. Now our next 3 loop stitches. 1, 2. Oh, 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 oh. See? 2. And then 3. And a decrease. 1, 2. Hold that loop. Pull through. Tug, tug. Okay. And 3 more loops. 1. 2. And 3. Okay, and now you look, you see you have 2 stitches left, so that's our last decrease. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, make sure you hold that last loop down, yarn over, pull through all 3, tug, tug. Okay. Now we're going to do, first we got to do our slip stitch. And I find it easier to go ahead and put the stitch marker into the loop here before doing the actual chain. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start putting a little bit of stuffing in there. I don't want to go too crazy, okay? Just like before, just take a little bit, place it in there. Take a little bit, place it in there. Oh, there it is, okay. Little bit, place it in there, okay? So that way, you see, it's squishy, but it's not totally caving in on itself, okay? All right. So now we're going to do 2 loops and then a decrease. Oh, hope if I had my hook in there the right way. I was like, what's wrong with this picture? Okay. So loop 1. Loop 2. Okay, and then our decrease. So 1, 2, hold the loop, pull through all 3, tug, tug. Okay, now 2 more loops. There's 1. That loop is way too big now. I know they don't have to be perfectly sized, but still, I don't want one long thing. Make it look like alfalfa. Okay, so there's 1. It's 2. Now a decrease. 1, 2, hold the loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, tuck, tuck. Okay. 2 more loops. There's 1. And here's number 2. Okay, and our decrease. Okay. Come on. One. Number two. Yarn over, pull through all three. Tuck, tuck. Okay. Sorry. Little sneeze coming on. Okay, it passed. Now watch it just obliterate everything. Okay. Now 2 more loops. One. And 2. And then our decrease. 1, 2. I was just thinking, how cute would it be to learn how to crochet a little Highland cow? Because I know Highland cows have been big for a while now when it comes to like tumblers and, you know, all types of imaging and stuff like that. But I was just thinking about it while I was working on the 9 rows that we had to do. I kind of want to crochet a Highland cow. Okay, let's decrease, so we're going back to our 2 loops here. And if I can make it look like crunchy, that would be awesome. And I don't mean crunchy as in like it's literally crunchy, all crusty, dusty and everything. No. If you have heard of Jelly Roll, then you definitely know who Bunny XO is. And she has 2 Highland cows at her, is it a ranch? I don't think it's a farm, but they're a big piece of property out in Tennessee, I believe. And there's Crunchy, and then there's S'more. And, wait, what did I do here? 1, 2, was that a decrease? I don't think I did my decrease right. Ah! Okay. Okay, so we're going to try this again. 1, 2, pull, yarn over, pull through, tuck, tuck. Anyway, I just think it'd be cute to make a little Highland cow and maybe send it to her. I don't know. Not like she'd ever be like, oh, thank you, you know. I mean, who knows? She might. Her and Jelly Roll seem to be the sweetest people on the face of this earth. They do more for their fans than I've seen anyone else do, honestly. But then again, you know, there's people that do things, you know, not for recognition. You know, they just do things in private, you know, to help others. So, all right, so we're down to our last 2 stitches here. So it's going to be our decrease. 1, 2. Pull those down. Yarn over, pull through, tug, tug. Okay. Now we're ready for our slip stitch. Okay. So I'm going here. Put a stitch marker in. Okay, and our chain. Okay. Let me go ahead and grab some more polyfill out of my bag here. Got this huge, huge bag of polyfill. Well, it's actually by Loops and Threads. Classic Fiberfill. So, washable, hypoallergenic, 100% polyester. And I got the Loops and Threads version because it was more affordable. Okay. And then I'm going to take little bits of this and just go. Okay. Oi. Okay. Kind of massage it around a little bit. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do 1 loop stitch and a decrease. Okay. So we're going to have our loop stitch. Loop-a-dee-doop-a-dee-doop. Okay, come on, get in there. Okay, loop, pull through. Now our decrease, so it's going to be 1, 2, hold the loop, pull through, and tug, tug. Okay, now remember, hold on to that loop before you start doing your tug, tug. Okay, alright, so now we got another loop stitch. Okay, and our decrease. Hold the loop, yarn over, pull through, tug, tug. Okay. And another loop stitch. And then our decrease. Tug, tug. Okay. And then another loop. Loop-a-dee-doop-a-dee-doop. Pull through. Okay. And then our decrease. Tug, tug. Okay. Yes, I have to go tug, tug every time. Okay, so our loop. And our decrease. Yarn over, pull through. Say it with me. Tug, tug. Okay. And then another loop. Now you see it's starting to close up their booty here. I'm trying to keep pronouns neutral. Because I don't know, maybe you're making a boy, maybe you're making a girl, maybe you're making a rainbow one, who knows? So, sorry, I just all of a sudden got itchy on my ear and my neck. Okay, so that was that loop or tug tug? That was a loop. Oh, that was a loop. Okay, so another decrease. 1, 2, hold the loop, yarn over, pull through, and tug tug. Okay. And so we're at the end of this row. So let's go ahead, do our slip stitch. Get in there. You see, it looks like I lost a couple stitches, couple loops right there. Slip stitch. Put in my stitch marker. Okay, I'm going to hold off on the chain. Just remind me to do the chain. Okay, so got some room there, so let's put a little more stuff in them. Ugh. These allergies. Went out to run some errands and stuff today, and the truck was just like covered in this speckled stuff that I'm just like, okay, that's allergy stuff. I don't know what it is, but it's allergy stuff. So I was like, oh no, it has begun. Okay, so we're gonna do our chain. Beep. Okay. Now we're gonna do 6 decreases. So basically we're going to just keep decreasing until we get back to our starting mark here, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start here. Nope, nope, nope. Make sure you're only going through the 2 top pieces of yarn on the stitch there. Okay, don't hook the whole entire stitch, because then you'll open up a big old hole and have a mess. Woo! I am so sorry. I didn't mean to beat on you like that. I need to figure out what to do with this light. It is so low. It's like, right now, it's below my nose. So, because I know if I have it too high, okay. Fair warning, trigger warning, my desk is a mess. But if I lift you up to where you're up higher, you see more. Actually, that's not too bad. Oh, pardon my gut. That's not too bad. I think that'll work fine, just like that. Let's see if I keep going up, if it'll go. You can see my floor. There you go. Might as well just show you. This is my wild workspace. But right there. I mean, yeah, you see my iPad, but it's not that bad. I'm rearranging stuff in my office while I'm making a video. Hey, fun times. Let me see if you can see some of my resin stuff there. And let me see all this. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so actually, I can tilt you. No, because then you'll see the floor. There we go. All right. Okay. And if I wanted to, I could stick my head in. Only thing, though, is now I can't see if I'm actually in frame or not. Let's hope I'm in frame. Because I am filming this all from my cell phone. Okay. So, we're doing all decreases, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's 1, 2. And thankfully, we don't have to deal with loops up here, so you don't have to worry about holding anything down when you go tug, tug. Okay. And then 1, 2, yarn over, pull through, and then tug, tug. Okay. 1, 2, yarn over, pull through, tug, tug. Okay. And there it is. Okay. And this is the only thing with the stuffing. Sometimes it pops up and gets in the way, and I'm just like, what is that? What where am I? Okay. So let's see. Here's 1, 2. Yarn over, pull through, tug, tug. Okay. 1 and 2. Yarn over, tug, tug. Okay, got that one already. All right, here, this one. 1, 2, yarn over, pull through, tug, tug. Okay, so let me get my stitch marker out of here. So now, stuck to my thumb. Okay, so now you see you still have this little hole right here. Okay, so what we're going to do with that hole, let me pull this out some so I don't lose my area there. There. So we're going to take a little bit of stuff, and try to keep your working yarn out. Don't stuff it in there. I'm just going to push it in. Okay, and kind of massage it around some in there, and kind of give it a feel. I like the squish. Now you see this whole section here, but thankfully you can kind of fluff her back up. Fluff them back. Oh, excuse me, fluff them back up a bit. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead. It is as stuffed as I'd like it. So what I do now is I go and I keep going with decreases. Usually it just takes another like 2 or 3 more. So we're going to go here. 1 and 2. If I can get my hook on in there. There it goes. Okay. And then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Tug, tug. And then... Nope, come on, give me both. Okay, it's 1. Okay, and then this one here is 2. Okay, yarn over, pull through, tug, tug. All right. So, now we need to tie it off. So, to tie her off, all I do is I go ahead, basically make a chain. Words. Okay. I give it a long loop, okay? Pull, not on the working side, the actual stitch side. So you're going to tighten it up, okay? I'm going to give it a little clip. And now you're going to pull on the working yarn. That should slide right on out, okay? So now you're left with this big old tail. I take my little hook, I poke it in from the front, go through the stuffing and everything. You're going to want to come out where in that opening in the back. Okay, so basically you skewered your sheep. Okay. Go ahead, hook onto the excess yarn, and I pull it on through. Sometimes you have to poke it back out and pull some more. But basically you're going to pull it all right on into the middle there. Okay. And in order to get your hook out, you shoot it straight on through. Okay. So there is the body. Now you'll notice her little booty, or their little booty, is kind of bare. It was the same thing with Meryl here. Kind of a bare booty. That's why I went ahead and made her a little tail. Okay? So, to make the tail, you need another magic ring. Okay? We're going to do the same thing as before, but instead of 6, we're going to use 4 single crochets. Okay? Oh, something about John Wayne Gacy he's listening to. Okay, come on. I tell you, these magic rings, they kill me. Because sometimes I could do it perfect, no problem. Other times, it's like pulling teeth. Okay. So now go under, yarn over, pull it back up. Very carefully. Yarn over, pull through. Now, when it comes to the tail, the feet, the ears, all that kind of stuff, I am actually... Oh. We're going to do 6. It's the ears that I do 4 single crochets. I'm looking at my pattern that I wrote out over here, so I'm like, oh, okay. So, we're going to need 6. Okay, so let's make sure we got this right. Pull on the little tail. And this is how we know something's wrong, because it's not... Oh, there it goes. Ha-ha! Okay. Fabulous. Okay. So, now remember, I always say that first one doesn't count. So now we're going to do 6 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, oh, come on, come on. There we go. 2. Right. Yep, 2. Fix the tail if it gets twisted up. 3, 4, 6 the tail, 5, and 6. Okay, now the tail, I mean, again, you can use whatever colors you want. I personally like having the tail same color as the rest of the body, so that way it kind of correlates. And since their face is off-white, I'm going to do the ears and their feet in off-white as well. Okay, so that way the skin matches, the wool matches, because there is wool on their little tails, I think. If anyone owns sheep, please let me know. Because obviously I am not a farm type of person. As much as I'd love to, I'm not a farm person. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And remember the difficult task of getting this in. Remember, get both pieces of yarn to the top of the stitch. We're going to do our slip stitch. Okay, and then a chain. Boop. All right. So what we're going to do is now we're going to go ahead and do 6 single crochets, 4 rows. Okay. So it's going to be a total of 5 rows on here, including the stitches for the magic ring. Okay. So let's see here, got that. Oh, I know it's tiny, but we're still going to use our stitch marker. Now the same pattern is going to be used for the feet. So you're going to be, well, I shouldn't say the same pattern. The same number of stitches, I guess you could say. Because this is the same pattern that we use for the feet. It's just that for the tail, we add some loop stitches on there. So actually your first 3 actually no, what was it? No, first stitch is a single crochet. I'm trying to remember because I didn't write everything down. First stitch of the row is a single crochet. Yeah, because I'll be honest, I kind of winged it on Meryl here for her tail. Now we're going to do 3 loop stitches. So I'm going to go under, yarn over, pull through, loop. Okay, here's 1. And here's 2. And then here's 3. Now when it comes to the tail, the feet, or the tail, the legs, the ears, I don't stuff them because they're not big enough. They're quite small. And not only that, if you have a long enough tail, that kind of helps give it a little bit of filling, I guess. So, let's see, it's 1. Oh no, there's 2 there. Haha. Okay, so this is number 3. And then the last 2 stitches of the row are going to be regular single crochets. So 1, Right. So move our stitch marker. Undo our slip stitch. If I can get it in there. Hey, there. Oh, this one. Oh, yeah. Pardon if you see the top of my head. Let's see here. Let's see if there's anything to poke it with. There we go. Now I got it. Now this is a cause of me making the stitches too tight. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. We can work with it. Now this takes a little finagling. Now obviously you don't want your stitches very tight, but when it comes to something like this, number one, you want these to be somewhat tight so that way you don't have filling falling out. Okay? This one, there's no filling in it, but you also don't want to lose your loops. So that's why I do these ones with a tight stitch. Okay? And this is our slip stitch. Okay? I'm not even going to worry about locking the stitch marker. Just stick it in there. Okay, so there's row 1. Cut that before, or close that before I hurt myself. Okay, and do our chain. And now we're going to do our single crochet. Come on. Come on, little buddy. You can do it. I believe in you. I got faith in you. There it goes. Ah, okay. All right, and it's a single crochet. Okay. Okay. Now our 3 loops. It's 1. There's 2. One, 2, 1. Wait. What? Oh no, I'm right. I'm right. Okay. Okay, and here's number 3. Oh, that was nice and easy. Alright, now I'm done 2 single crochets. 1 and then 2. Okay, take the marker out. And I'm going to do our slip stitch. There it goes. Okay. And then our chain. Alright. So, I'm not even going to mess with my stitch markers for this. So, I mean, if you still need it, obviously use it. But because there's so minimal stitches that we're doing, I'm just like, eh. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and do our single crochet. is loop number 1. Nope. Try not to get other loops stuck in your yarn. Okay, there's 1. Okay, next one is right here. This is number 2. Okay, and then number 3. Okay, and then 2 singles. Okay, and then a slip stitch. Okay, chain. Okay, so we are starting our last row for the tail. So it starts with our single crochet. Okay, and then loop number 1. And loop number 2. Get myself a topsy-turvy. Loop number 3. Two more single crochets. 1, 2. Okay, and then a slip stitch. Okay. So now, we're going to go ahead and make a big loop. Okay? And we are going to cut actually pretty close to the project. Because I want to make sure, I mean, I know there's no way I'm going to use all this yarn. Uh-oh. I cut it the wrong way! Oh! Well, you know what? I can always... This is actually long enough. I could probably stitch it on with this. But, you know, it just looks better because it's more... Up here, it ends up looking more tapered. So it would be a cute little tail that way. But, see, like that. But I guess that can work too. Okay. Lesson of the day. Pay attention to what you're cutting. So, we're going to tie this off. So, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and in order to tie it off, let's make a little loop like that. Loop the yarn over, pull through. Come on, pull through. Pull through, pull through. If I can keep a grip on you, pull through. There. Okay, so that makes a little knot. And then I'm going to go ahead, stick my hook in there. It's just like how we pulled the tail in on the main part of the sheet, and pull it in. And if anything pops out, you can just trim that off or push it back in, either way. Without cutting off any other parts here. Alright, So now we are going to need a yarn needle. Thread the yarn on. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and see. Make sure you have your sheep upright. Okay. So eyes are up top. I'm going to go find the center of the eyes, pull it all the way down here, and then I try to get it right. Okay, so that's center, right above the opening there. I'm going to go one stitch to the side, and pop it in, reach across. So we're not going to go to that first opening here, not this one. We're going to go over one more stitch, so you're basically having 2 stitches on your needle. Pull that through. Okay, and then this is how I like to attach it. I will do, see, it's weird having this fat part up top, but normally if it was the little small end like it's supposed to be, I'll wrap the yarn around, and then I'll go poke back in, just find a hole, poke it in there, and have it poke out the other side here. Come on, you can do it. All right, okay. Just like that. Okay, and then tie it off. Get up close and underneath the tail. Just find a piece of yarn to stick your needle into. Okay, go like that. Now, don't pull it all the way through. See the little loop right here? I go and I'll put the needle through there. Again, don't pull all the way through just yet. Take the excess here, pull on it so it tightens up that original loop. Okay. Now, get it so it's a small opening, put your needle through that loop. Now what I do is while the needle is still in the loop, try to make it so you can see it, I'll go ahead, pull on the excess right here to tighten up that loop. While holding that tight, pull the needle through and just keep working it through while keeping it tight and tie it off. Ta-da. Okay, now if I had it the right way, it would look right, but I know she's kind of cattywampus. Okay, I'm cut off stitches. There you go. There's the tail. Put it into your extras bin so you could use it for, oh my computer, use it for stuffing if you don't have polyfill. You know, if you get in a bind, run out of your polyfill, you'll have your little scrap pieces of yarn to use for stuffing. Let's give her a little massage here. Yeah, the poor baby. What do you think we should name him? Backwards Barnaby because his tail's on backwards? Alright, so now for me, I'm done with my amethyst yarn. So I can go ahead and put that up. Set this to the side here where it won't get resin or anything else on it. Now we're going to go back. I'm going to go back to my off-white so I can make their ears and their feet. Okay. So start with the ears. Okay, this one is again a magic ring, but you're only going to do 4 single crochets on it. Okay, so let's see here. Okay. Wait, right? It's a process, I tell you. There we go. You can do it. Okay. So go under. One. Two. Fix the tail. Let me shrink this down so I made too big around. Two. Three. Okay, last one. And four. Okay. And then we shrink it down so it's just a little wing. Very, very small ring with just 4 little stitches on it. Alright. Now, for the ears, I'm not going to bother with the slip stitch or the chain. I'm just going to go right on into it. So we need to do 4 increases. So let's see here. I'll start here. Come on. Yep. Let me see if this will help me here. Bye. There we go. Trust me, that helps a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in here. Oh. It helped me when I was making Meryl. Okay, I feel it. I feel it. Oh no, don't fall back out. Keep going, little buddy. Keep going. Okay, there we go. Okay, so 4 increases. Okay, come on. Come on! There it goes, okay. Okay, so that one. And this one, okay, it's 1 increase. Okay, next stitch. 1, 2. Okay, that's number 2. Okay, 3rd increase. 1, 2. Okay, and our last increase. 1 and 2. All right. Now we're going to do a whole row of single crochets. So it'll be a total of 8 single crochets. Okay. So we're going to start here. Just go in. Just 1 and 2. Come on. You can do it, little buddy. 2. Oi. There you go. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 7, 7, and 8. Get in there. Get in there. There you go. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 $5 foot long. Okay. What's that? 5. There we go. 6, 7, 8. Okay, now we are going to go ahead and kind of flatten this out some, so you can kind of see the shape of the ears forming. Okay, so let me pull that tail out. So I'm going to go ahead and do my usual trick to pull the tail through. Now this one, it doesn't really need stuffing because it's so small and thin. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim this off rather close to the project. There you go. Okay. So now let's see which one. Okay, so that is the working yarn. So this is the side we're going to cut. Okay. Now, then, haha, we did it. Success. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and load it up onto our yarn hook. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to make and attach one ear and one leg. And just know that obviously you're going to need 4 legs and 2 ears, okay? Because I'm going to make the other ones off camera. And then we'll come back to it, okay? So I try to line up the ears so that way the inner corner kind of goes with the edge of the eye. So this one I'm going to put, I don't even know if you can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and go 1 stitch above the eye, just like this. And I'm going to hook, there you go. So you're getting, basically picking up 1 stitch that's on there. Go ahead and pull it on through. Okay, and then I go ahead and I will go into the middle of the ear, the front part of the ear, and then go into the middle of the back part of the ear. Basically kind of like closing up the bottom of the ear. I'm closing it up as I'm stitching it on them. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, go back in to where we had this pop out, go over 1 more stitch on their little face. Make sure your yarn stays on the right side there. Pull that through. Okay, and then we're going to give it 1 last stitch towards the end, bottom edge of the ear. Pull that through. Now what I do is, before we get this completely tightened up, kind of like how we tied off the back or the tail, go ahead and feed that through. Okay, now I'm going to leave a loop. We're going to pull on what was coming out of the ear because that is attached So the yarn is going through the face. Okay. Now in this loop, you go ahead, feed the needle halfway through it, pull on the excess here so you get a tight fit, pull. Okay, and then you should, now what I do is give it like a slight pinch here where I'm holding the top part of the knot. Okay, little tug tug. Okay, and then we're gonna clip it. You don't want to be too super duper close in case the knot loosens, but you want to be pretty close so you don't have a huge tail hanging. So there's one little ear. Okay. I think they are coming along quite well, even though their tail is kind of cattywampus. It's still, you can tell it's a tail. Alright. So now we're going to make a leg. So this one, okay, another magic ring with 6 single crochets. When will I ever learn to not do things with magic rings? All right. That. The struggle is real. Okay. Get everything straightened out. Okay. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on, my tail's getting wonky. Okay, 4. 5. And 6. Okay. Now we tighten the ring. Okay, again, no slip stitches, no chains, none of that. Okay. And let's see here. Okay. Okay, so again, it's going to be 4 rows of single crochets all the way around. So it'll be 6 single crochets on each row. Okay, so start with this one. Don't fuss with me. Come on. Come on, you know you want to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. That's this one right here. That's the first one. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. There. Make sure I grab the right working yarn. Okay. 1. Okay. I don't know why my magic rings are always so tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, there's the first row down. One, two, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, complete row two. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, complete three, last row. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, now we are going to do the slip stitch into the next stitch here, just to get it secured. So now what I do is, yet again, do like a chain, but this time we're going to tighten it up, and we're going to give it a big pull. Obviously we're not going to use all this. Okay, so this is this I didn't cut up. So I'm just going to go ahead, give it a cut. Okay, it's plenty long. Now before we get to stitching it on, same routine with the tail. Poke it through there. Pull it through. And then I'm going to trim it so it'll fold back into the leg. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay. Now we load it back up onto our yarn needle. Okay, so to start off, foot, I'm going to try to line it up with the ear and figure good spot. Okay, this should be, actually, what I do is I line it up with the exterior. Wait, did I do exterior? Yeah, it's exterior, the outer edge of the ear. And so I'd say right about there looks like it'd be good for his front little paw. So same thing as the ear, we're going to bind a stitch. Try to make sure you don't grab just the loop. Find the actual stitch itself down there. Just pick the one up onto your needle. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and do one stitch through the top of the leg. Like that. And then kind of tighten it a wee bit, and then you're going to go back through that same stitch on the body. Where is the body? Ooh, I want to watch Tu Wong Fu tonight. It's a good movie. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead, stick the needle through one of the little stitches that we made. Okay. And then put it through that little loop we just made on here. Okay. Tug on that. Pull that through. So it's all knotted on. Perfecto. Trim the excess off. Go. I'm gonna flip the wool around it a wee bit. And there you go. She has a little foot now. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, make the other 3 legs and the ear off foot, get them attached. And when we come back, we will have a complete little sheep. Okay, so we went ahead. I attached their other ear and their 3 other legs. And Meryl's sibling is complete. Look at how cute they are together. Oh, I'm getting used to the buggy eyes on our amethyst sheep. But still, I think they're so cute together. So that is the end of my very first video. Yay! Alright, so if you like the content that I made so far of one whole video, please go ahead and subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. What do you think we should name this little one? And I will see you guys next week. I plan on posting every Thursday. Take care.